Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. My name is Michael Schenkel, and I'm the chair of ANC 2C. I'd like to welcome you to our January 14th meeting of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 2C. Yes. I have two mics on. I'm muted here. They're muted. Is some echoing? That's better? Okay. Sorry about that. Can everyone hear me online okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you for that. We have a fairly full agenda tonight for our meeting. But I'd like to first acknowledge that we do have 4 of 4 commissioners present, 3 in person this evening, and 1 commissioner online. Commissioner Groth is online with us tonight. And I'd like the commissioners to introduce themselves if they could. And we'll start over here to my far right. Using the other way. My far right.
Yeah, I can't get used to the mic being on this side, but anyway, my name is Jim Swart. I'm the commissioner for 2C04, which includes City Center, a portion of downtown, and a portion of Chinatown.
My name is Thomas Lee. I'm the ANC commissioner for 2C03, which is includes the National Mall and Penn Quarter.
And Commissioner Groth, do you want to go?
Sure. I'm Nancy Groth. I'm commissioner for 2C02, which I call SOMA, South of Mass Ave, Thomas Circle, Scott Circle, and traditional downtown K Street.
Awesome. And again, my name is Michael Schenkel. I'm the chair of ANC 2C and the ANC commissioner for 2C01, which includes Gallery Place and Chinatown. So thank you all for being here. So we do have a quorum tonight of 4 of 4 commissioners present. We will quickly go through the agenda for tonight.
I have 2 items to propose to add to the agenda, if this is a good place for that.
Sure. Let me just project the agenda 1 second.
Great.
Okay. This is, whoops, let's get rid of this sidebar if I can. I can't, so I'll move it over there.
All good.
Nancy, what is your proposal?
Under announcements, there's nothing there now, but I'd like to add an announcement of a community event on ranked choice voting, where they'll have the head of the Board of Elections will be there, and Willie Flowers from the dispensary that's hosting it, I see, is online. So that's one thing. And then under ABCA, there's also nothing under ABCA this month, to consider a letter of support for Commission 2B in DuPont Circle. And I believe Alex Marshall is in the room with you there now. That relates to rooftop bar noise and nightclub Onyx in their commission.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So tonight we have a few minutes of business to take care of as an ANC. We will have a special guest presenting with us tonight. Councilmember Pinto will be here from 6:15 to about 6:45, providing an update for us, an annual update. And then we will immediately move into planning, zoning, environment, and historic preservation, as we will be picking up items that were left off our agenda last month because we ran out of time. We went right to the very brink of the security officer arresting Commissioner Swart and taking him out. So we're going to start with that this evening, and we have 4 items to discuss there. Then we will return to our normal schedule, in which we will invite our government offices to present. We do have the two community events that are upcoming that are requesting approvals for 2026, and ending with some transportation and public space. And we have the two items from Commissioner Groff talking under announcements, ranked choice voting, and under APCA, supporting a resolution for 2B. Are there any other changes or additions to the agenda? Then I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second,
I second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Groff. So we will, the agenda is now approved. Commissioners, have you had the opportunity to review the December minutes?
I have.
Yep. And I saw that Commissioner Groff sent around a revised copy to everyone with some additions or some corrections to the minutes. Commissioner Groff, do you want to present those minutes for approval?
yeah, I move that we adopt the minutes of the December 2025 meeting as corrected. Commissioner Swart rightly noticed I had caught one but not the other, that the tally for a vote where there's an abstention, the abstention is the third position in the tally, not the middle. Looks like a vote of no. So with those corrections, I move that we adopt those minutes.
Great. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I second that.
Commissioner Swart seconding that. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of approval of the minutes. Sorry. We also have a treasurer's report. Thomas, I don't know what you want to present first. I know you have a couple things. Sorry.
I'll just present the December 2025 treasurer's report. We had an opening balance of $68,048. I paid off 2 invoices for our minute taking service in the total amount of $750, but gave us a closing balance of $67,298. I have here our Q1 2026 Q1 quarterly report. In our Q1 is basically October or December of
October through December.
Right, of 2025. We received an allotment from the city of $6,583. We spent $180 on software and $1,875 on, I believe those are also minute services for multiple months. And we ended up with and that's how we got to our closing balance of $67,298, which matches. So could we vote on to accept the QFR for fiscal year 2026 Q1?
Second,
Moved that we adopt the QFR for fiscal year 2026 Q1.
Terrific. Thank you, Commissioner Lee. And Commissioner Groff seconded that motion. All those in favor of adopting the FY26 Q1 report, please show your hands. Any abstentions? Or
Okay, and then also
so it passes, sorry.
then I also received an email from the Office of ANC asking that we submit a revised Q3 fiscal year 2025 report. I did not include an allotment of $2,271.14. Basically, that increases our quarterly fiscal report. It increases our ending balance for QFR quarter three fiscal year 2025 to $63,904. And they asked that we vote to approve this revised QFR.
Would you like to submit that into motion?
I submit that we vote that we accept this revised QFR.
I second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Swart. This is for FY 25 quarter three. All those in favor? Okay, so 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. So we will, that will be approved and move forward. And didn't you have?
That's it. I'll submit this for your signatures.
Got it.
E-signatures.
Do we need to revise quarter 4 report?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
They sent us a corrected one of that also.
Yes, so I have here a quarter 4 of fiscal year 2025 with an ending balance of, let's see, 62,769. This was also revised because of the prior QFR's change in ending balance. So I move that we accept this report, that we accept this report.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Groff. All those in favor? So again, 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. Do we need to do anything with the budget?
Yes, the budget has we need to correct the beginning balance FY 26. Beginning balance on the FY 26 budget.
And that has to be uploaded to the portal, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So we will be.
I'll do that next time.
We'll be revising the budget to include the updated
balance.
total. It's the starting balance of $769.95. Sorry. So that's $62,769.95.
So Thomas, if you need help getting those 3 quarterly QFRs signed, if you want to just send me all 3 documents, I'll make sure that they get signed and uploaded.
I sent them to you already.
Oh, awesome.
So check your
Perfect.
inboxes.
Okay,
So I move that we submit the revised budget with the new quarter 4 ending balance as its starting balance.
I second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Swart. And all those in favor? So again, 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. Okay. Election of officers is next on our agenda. The current officers stand as me as chair, Commissioner Swart as vice chair, Commissioner Groff as secretary, and Commissioner Lee as treasurer. Are there any motions on the floor?
I move to nominate the slate by acclamation to retain current offices.
So the motion is to retain the current officers. That's on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Swart. Any discussion? Then I'll call a vote. All those in favor of the motion? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. So I'll pass that along to the Office of ANC as well.
They also need our list of all 12 meeting dates for the year.
Exactly. And I will display those. Thank you for reminding me that. So maybe I will display those. Our meeting dates can be found on our website. Those of you who are not in person with us at the library, you can also find our agenda there at anc2c.us. Our meeting dates are as follows. Tuesday, the 10th of, these are all Tuesdays this year, February 10th, March 10th, April 14th, May 12th, June 9th, July 14th, August 11th, September 8th, October 13th, November 10th, and December 8th. It will be held presumably in a hybrid format here at the MLK Library in 401F. This is the room that we're in tonight. Our room has changed to 401F for the 12 meetings in 2026. I'd like to move that we accept and approve the meeting schedule for 2026.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee. And all those in favor? Okay, four commissioners voting in favor of that. So we will move forward with those minutes. Next on our agenda, we have a special presentation from Councilmember Pinto. Councilmember, are you on with us?
Yes.
Hey, hello there. How are you doing this evening?
Hi, I'm doing well. Good evening.
Awesome. Nice to see you.
You too. We have a PowerPoint as well. Are we able to get that on the screen? Wonderful.
Awesome.
Okay, well, Happy New Year. Happy first meeting of the year. Great to be with you all. Thank you for joining us at Pride. It's a picture of us all Pride together last year. So tonight I thought I can give an update on some of what we're working on in the council and some things going on with the performance oversight and budget schedule. But as always, want to make sure we save time for questions or comments or ideas that people may have. You can go to the next slide, Dia. But first I want to just recognize the very tragic accident that we had at 16th and L Street. It is such an important reminder of how imperative it is that we ensure that all of our pedestrians are safe. And it's just a tragic, tragic situation. So thank you for everybody who's reached out and who's been trying to support the family as well. But we continue to stay focused on everything that we can do to support public safety in the neighborhood and across Ward 2 and across the city. We've had another major year of driving down crime, really across all categories, was down almost another 30% this past year, which means that over the past 2 years, violent crime has come down by over 50%. And that continues to be a major focus of ours for crime and quality of life across all categories. This summer, the council passed my Peace DC omnibus bill, which really built on our Secure DC bill, which did things like try to get more officers in the door by streamlining our MPD education requirements, by making sure that individuals who were charged with the most violent offenses, a judge could hold those folks pre-trial, a number of interventions around supporting our returning citizens with additional access to housing and employment and healthcare, as we continue to think about the entire life cycle of our public safety system and supporting people at all ends of that system. This fall, we've also moved several pieces of legislation around public safety, a bill to ensure we can keep more of our officers and firefighters and EMTs in the door by allowing them to earn their retirement benefits but still stay on the force. We've also passed a law to allow for the police chief to designate certain zones in the city as juvenile curfew zones. This is especially important to be nimble when we have intel that there might be large groups of young people planning certain gatherings or certain fights in various areas. And we've had this without this tool where hundreds of kids showed up. And by then it was very, very difficult to disperse the crowd. And so when we have access to that information, being able to have a certain earlier curfew for an earlier time for large groups of young people, 8 or more, was a tool that we passed this fall. You can go to the next slide. So we are heading into the performance oversight time. Really appreciate those of you who participate in this process. It is very, very important to have your input and ANC commissioners and members of the public to come testify at these hearings. This is when we consider all of our agencies across the district, how they've been performing over the past year, ask them questions on the record about things that we'd like to see improved or thank them for. And it really sends us into the budget cycle much more prepared, knowing which agencies may need more funding, which funding needs to be shifted. And so if you all don't already get my newsletter, which you can sign up for at brookpintodc.com, we'll be sending out the performance oversight schedule as soon as possible. It should be ready soon, and those hearings will start at the end of January. You go to the next slide. So while I have spent a lot of time over the past year focused on public safety, we also recognize that we have a lot of attention and needs when it comes to economic opportunity across the district. And so at the end of last year, I introduced a very large plan called Prosper DC, which includes 23 different pieces of legislation, all aimed at improving people's economic prosperity, both as residents and also for our businesses, and to make very clear that we are a great place to work and open a business. And we want to lean much more of that into this year. And so this is a big part of my legislative agenda for 2026. I won't go through all 23 of the bills, but I'll talk a little bit about each of the kind of main categories. Go to the next slide, yeah. So the first was around economic opportunities for our residents. These are things like setting up an apprentice program for some of our highest growth industries like healthcare and tech, childcare, and paying for that licensing program so long as the applicant then works for a DC business for 2 years following graduation. We are expanding or seeking to expand fertility insurance coverage for families looking to grow their family. We're working with the Department of Parks and Rec on this park concessions bill, which would allow us to have vending in some of our public parks so that as you're enjoying places like Franklin Park, you can be able to get food and drink as well. Next slide. Then we have a lot of different bills in Prosper DC that are aimed to support our young people. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that I've gotten from kids who I've met with from across the city is a desire to have more spaces to be and recreate, and a desire to have more opportunities to earn cash. And so a lot of pieces of this are aimed at those goals. One bill that I'm really excited about creates a new teen center, one in each quadrant of the city, which is really going to be driven by our youth and what they want to see, what they want to do, especially available on nights and weekends so that we can create those spaces for our kids. Another one creates an app which will connect young people to employers for paid job opportunities so that kids can put more cash in their pockets. We have an artificial intelligence literacy bill so that we can have guidelines and training for all of our students on how to participate in this evolving landscape of AI so they can be meaningful participants as they graduate. Next slide. Then we have a number of bills all around supporting our businesses in DC and attracting new businesses. This is especially important as we've seen the DOGE cuts and the federal government cutting tens of thousands of jobs and contracts that has been impacting district residents disproportionately. And so it's really, really important that we diversify our economy and think about other ways to bring in new industries here to DC. One of the bills I'm excited about creates a tax incentive if you relocate your business to DC or expand your existing business by hiring 25 district residents. Another one incentivizes the better use of vacant space to have art and pop-up and activations that I know is going to be really important for downtown as well. And then the fourth category does a number of things around healthy and affordable housing. It does things like allow your tenant application screening to be transferred for each building you apply to. This is something that's costing renters up to hundreds of dollars each year, and that just doesn't have to be. We can transfer those fees. Another one allows for folks who are getting a federal subsidy for housing to be able to opt in to get that subsidy on a monthly basis instead of an annual basis, which allows people to budget better. Another bill around rodents, doing things like having new trash bins with sensors at the bottom of them. Excuse me. So that when they're 70% full, the Department of Public Works can get that notification and come pick it up, as opposed to your amazing ANC commissioners every weekend writing in and saying, hey, yeah, there's another trash bin that is overflowing and someone's got to come pick it up. So we're really excited about all of those measures. Unlike Secure DC and Prosper DC and dozens of our other public safety bills that we were able to kind of get in there and move quickly, these bills were not referred to the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee. And so they're referred to a whole host of committees, Public Works Committee and the Business Economic Development Committee, the Health Committee. And so if there are pieces of Prosper DC that you're particularly interested in and want to reach out to that committee chair, or come testify once those hearings are scheduled, hopefully soon, that would be great. It would be great to have your involvement in shaping these bills, making sure that they're as strong as possible. And then my goal is to get as many of them passed and funded in the budget as we can. Okay, so speaking of the budget, one of my favorite events of the year is coming up, which is our Ward 2 Budget Forum. We're going to have this on Tuesday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom. I know many of you have joined me for these in the past. I do this every year, and it really does shape our priorities. I will always be very focused on certain things for the city, like making sure that public safety is prioritized, making sure that our small businesses and downtown needs are prioritized, by ensuring there's economic opportunity for all, by supporting investments in our schools and our young people, and our senior villages and our main streets. Like, there are a number of things that are always very, very important to me, just in meeting with residents across the city every day. But this meeting really helps me streamline what our community wants to see in the budget, which of course is different every year, and we have certain needs now. And so I really encourage folks to join us. If you can't join us to testify or to listen, you're welcome to email us some of your budget priorities. And Dia, if you could put Isaiah's email in the chat as well, from our team, who will help keep all of that organized. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, so I have been waiting to give this update to Commissioner Swart for 6 years, and I am so thrilled to share that thanks to your persistence and continued collaboration, the amplified noise bill is funded. And thank you all. I know this has been a really pressing challenge for 2C, and all of the commissioners have been really amazing thought partners on this. As you may have seen or recall, this budget, we had tried several different ways to fund the amplified noise bill. We tried to fund it committee unsuccessfully. We tried to fund it when it got to the full council, unsuccessful. We tried to move amendments to fund it, and those were stricken down. And so what we did was we put together a list of contingency budget items, things that we thought were really imperative that we fund in this year's budget. Improvements to district residents' dental plan coverage, which had been removed from the federal government healthcare bill and cuts. Additional support for our child care fund, DNA testing at the DFS lab, and amplified noise. And that's how we did it through the budget. And we recently found out that there is surplus funding available to fund all of the contingency items that we put on that list. And so, as we all know, It still requires a lot of follow-up. We have to continue following up with the agencies to make sure that it's implemented, to make sure that they have sufficient staff to handle this work, that they're actually enforcing the new law. And I will stay with my team laser focused on ensuring that happens. But the tools and the funding are now in place to see a meaningful difference there. And I also just want to flag for folks' awareness that there is a drug-free zone in the area this weekend. Pull up the exact locations. So it's going to run from tomorrow through Monday, so January 14th through Monday the 19th. 6th and I, 7th and 8th, 7th and G, and Gallery Place and through 6th Street. So just so you all know for your awareness, as you may see the signs. All right, tomorrow morning I'm having community office hours at Cafe Joy in Logan Circle. As you all may know, I do different community office hours in all of our neighborhoods at different times of the day, different days of the week, weekday, weekend, night, morning, to try to just be as accessible as possible. And so if anyone's able to join us tomorrow morning, would love to see you. Otherwise, we will have another office hours coming up soon again. All right, so those are the main things I wanted to share, but really appreciate everybody's partnership throughout all of 2025. I know it was a very intense and difficult year in a lot of ways, and we continue to see a lot of challenges from our federal government, and seeing just the uptick in federal presence and immigration enforcement and things that are really traumatizing our neighbors. And I'm continuing to work every single day, both on what we can do in our local government, but also leaning on some of our federal allies and partners to help stand up their oversight and protection as well. So I will stop there. Happy to answer any questions people may have on any issue. And as always, if you don't have a question, but you just have an idea or something you want to share, would love to hear from you. So thank you all so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilmember Pinto. We always appreciate your update. Ooh, I have an echo.
Sorry, it might be me. I'll put myself on mute while someone else is talking.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. Thank you very much for that update. We always appreciate it
May I say
very
one
much. Certainly. Go ahead, Commissioner Swart.
thing? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Well, I just wish to say to Council Member Pinto that you've made my year. Thank you.
I also see that Commissioner Groff has her hand up.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much, Council Member, for acknowledging the incredibly tragic and very traumatic for the neighborhood death last week of Aaron Markel Williams. I keep trying to say his name in every conversation about this. The two remaining things for me as the commissioner for that SMD, it's in my SMD, is accountability from Metropolitan Police. There are many credible reports that it was a police chase from a traffic stop that the driver was evading that was part of the setup for this horrible thing. So as that investigation continues, I just would like to I'd like to be in the loop of all communications about that and to be able to follow it closely, not just by looking at social media and the press. So there's that. I think that's a very important piece of this. The other is that as the commissioner for that neighborhood, including the residential building right on that corner, I'd like to write my own condolence letter to the family, and I don't want to violate anybody's privacy. Could your office forward that, or should Mokers forward that? Nobody seems to be able to tell me how I can do that. This is the third public death since I've been a commissioner in my SMD, and I just think that's the lowest bar of public decency, that if I can't even do that, I shouldn't be in this job. So.
Wow. So absolutely, if you want to get that to me, I would be happy to pass that on to the family. certainly. And in terms of the results of the ongoing investigation, you have my personal commitment to make sure that you get that information as soon as we're able.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I have 3 questions for you that kind of emerged as you were talking. As we are seeing downtown transition and become more residential, is there a plan to address some of the zoning issues around noise mitigation with, mixed use zoning? Right now, we run into constant challenges in which a block is currently zoned commercial, and they're putting residential, making their building residential or transitioning it. And there is nobody to enforce some of the sound issues that occur between businesses and residents, not APCA, not Department of Buildings. No one takes responsibility for it. And we're just wondering if that's been on anyone's radar.
I would say not enough, probably. I think it's a good flag. Happy to follow up with some of our agencies about that. And as the zoning commission continues their process of rethinking how to add more density, one of my bills in Prosper also talks about encouraging co-living spaces, and just other creative models for people to find more affordable housing in the city. That is going to be a continued important discussion, that even if the zoning commission themselves is not handling the noise mitigation, it should be on their radar as part of the kind of consideration, so we can all pour in that direction. So I'll take a note of that and think through how best to follow up with our agencies. But thanks for flagging that.
I'd like to be looped in on that also. I already sent an email right after the holidays to Brian on your staff about this. I have a building in my SMD that I'd rather not name because thankfully the building owner holds the lease to the bar restaurant and is dealing with it, and I don't want to embarrass them. But for anybody to move into that building and suddenly realize 6 months later that they don't have residential protections, how is this possible? That when you convert a building from office to residential, you should get the -R put onto your zoning.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We'll follow up about that.
Thank you.
The other question I have was related to housing. As we all this evening made our way into the MLK library and the multiple people that are using the libraries as a sleeping area, are there more temporary beds coming for individuals?
So I joined my colleague, Councilor Fruman, who chairs the Department of Human Services, in sending a letter to DHS and the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, asking for an updated plan to house the 700 or so individuals who are still estimated to be living outside in DC over the next 6 months. One of my big fears for this summer, as the president plans America's 250th, is that we'll see what we did last summer, that he may come in and just do something drastic, and also uncompassionate, dispassionate, and unsustainable. When he does that, we really lose a lot of connection points with people that we're trying to serve. And so we are going to be pushing the agencies over the next couple of weeks to get back to us with that plan. Where are the additional temporary beds going to be? How are we going to help transport people? I'm very excited about the Aston model that we started last year around transitional housing, which seems to be much more much more preferential for people because it's a non-congregate space to live in. And so last year we funded another version of this that is going to be able to house additional people through this model. And my view is that we need to continue building those across the city. We know
Yes.
that they're more successful when they have targeted interventions and a limited number of people to really be served and get the follow-up care they need with case management and meals. And again, this privacy component, which continues to be one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we hear from folks who are living outside when they're not wanting to go into shelter, is people don't want to go into a congregate setting. So that's one of my big budget pushes again this year, is to continue to push for more of these transitional housing where people can live in a non-congregate setting. But in the meantime, we will hopefully have a public plan from the deputy mayor's office around what those transitional beds are going to look like.
Thank you for that. And finally, I don't know this, I don't know the details of the fertility treatment options bill, but one of the things as a small business owner, when you don't have enough employees, you usually join a consortium to purchase. And a lot of those consortiums are located outside of the district. And just assuming that our district residents who we employ would be covered by district rules related to insurance. And that's not always the case, especially around fertility treatment. We just had a situation emerged with one of our employees in which the network we joined is actually the insurance plan, even though it's based here in DC, is out of Florida. And they don't provide any fertility treatment options to anybody. So I'm wondering if there is a provision, I don't know if this is even possible, that if you're offering insurance to district residents, that it has to follow district rules so that we can get coverage for people that need these services. And I'm happy to send you more email on it and more details.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I'd love to read more about that and see if an addendum like that makes sense. I think that the next step is to try to get the Committee on Health to hold a hearing on this bill. And that would also be a good venue to talk about some of the other issues that your employees may be currently facing, because there may be other solutions to help there too.
And
Awesome.
council member, in your final moments with us, may I ask you if there's a timeline for, and really you made my year by saying that the sound mitigation law is funded. Is there a timeline for between this point and action in terms of having it become operational?
So it's a question we've asked to DLCP. I don't have the answer for you yet. Technically, when a law is passed and funded, it's operational. But practically, we know that part of the reason that it needed to be funded was because additional staff is going to be necessary to come on board. So staff's going to need to be hired. There'll need to be additional training. And that's where I mentioned the follow-up becomes so important, because I don't want us to blink and have 6 months go by and there's no progress on this. And so you have my commitment to stay very focused on continuous follow-up to make sure that we get that timeline. And we can share it with you all and hold the agencies accountable to honoring that timeline.
Great, thank you. And you have my commitment to help you in any way possible.
Thank you.
And Councilmember Pinto, if you have time for our two folks that have their hands up online, I'd love to be able to get those in there. Is
Sure,
that
no
okay?
problem.
Okay. I'd like to call on Andrew Cohen.
Hello, council member. Congratulations on getting that mitigation sound amplified noise act passed and funded. That's really incredible. I'm curious about, in the interim, just as a follow-up to Swart's question, is Department of Building still the best place to go to for things like noise complaints, we are dealing with sort of things like buskers, drummers, um, and I'm wondering what the best place to go while we're waiting for these new implementations to happen would be.
So I would go to DLCP, the
Mhm.
Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection, because that's what the amplified noise bill sets up the framework to regulate. And I think it's important that they start hearing from residents directly. And now that they have the authority to enforce it, even if they don't have every single piece recognized, like they are the appropriate body to go to. You can also always go to MPD. And one of the things that this bill does is there was a gap, as you all may know, where if DOB was going out and asking someone for their license and someone just said, no, I don't have it, there was no ability to follow up. And so this authorizes MPD to say, you have to provide, you can't just continue to play here without follow up and without abiding by the rules. And so if there is something like that where the agency has come out and somebody, will not move along or will not demonstrate they have a permit, you also can call MPD, and they are authorized to enforce that law as well.
Okay, and just to clarify, the permits and the licensing, is this specifically for, I guess, amplified? Yeah, and is the goal here that anyone performing with an amplified device needs to register the amplification device itself?
Well, the bill creates a requirement that you be licensed to do that if you're going to be amplifying sound in a public space. And it also will allow us to regulate it better by setting the decibel limits at what I would describe as a more reasonable level. Um, so that's kind of how that's going to structure. But I would recommend going to DLCP or MPD if things are escalated.
Thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
And thank you for that. And finally, James Stroud.
Sure. Thank you. I have a couple questions. The first one will be easy. So MPD releases stop data. Used to release it like biannually. The last data they've released is for only 2024. Do you have any idea on when they'll be releasing any of 2025's data for the stop data? I put the link to the data set in the chat if you're not familiar.
Okay, when you talk about stop data, you mean like the arrest data?
It includes arrest data, but it's like there's a row of data for every single time that a police officer stops, like makes a stop of someone,
Uh-huh.
whether or not they get arrested. Like some of them result in arrests, some are tickets, some are warnings, some don't result in any of those three outcomes, but there's a data record for each of those. They've been releasing that ever since I think there's historical data through 2010. And yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to address that, but since you said you had several questions, maybe you can ask all your questions and then I can try to
Okay.
address all of
Yeah,
them.
sure. And then the other question I have is relating to MPD's collaboration with ICE and interim police chief Carroll recently answering your questions and stating that MPD has not been collaborating with ICE, which is just a blatant lie since there's been photographic and video evidence of MPD working with ICE. I don't know, like, are there any consequences for MPD just blatantly lying? Like, is there any sort of accountability that you can have for them? I don't know. I just like just seeing the recent things happening in Minneapolis. It's just like ICE is just like so sickening, and it just I don't know. It's just so frustrating, and it makes me feel so powerless. Just having this like unaccountable like Gestapo like force just roaming around streets, snatching people up, shooting people, just acting completely unhinged. I don't know, like what can you do when you have the local police force just willingly cooperating with them and then just lying about their cooperation? Like what can we do? What accountability can we have? I don't know. Is there any like threats to their budget we can have? I don't know. Like what can we do?
So I guess kind of rewinding time a little bit. I'm looking at the link that you sent, and it looks like this last one was updated this past August. And so in December, sorry, August is when we saw President Trump try to federalize our police department and ramp up the federal presence that was here across federal and public safety agencies, FBI, ATF, ICE. Um, and I sent a letter to MPD in December that was signed by all my colleagues asking for a lot of clarity around all of this data, like which agencies are here, how many arrests are being made, what does that level of coordination look like, how are deployment decisions being made. We held a oversight hearing in December for that was 12 hours. We heard from over 130 witnesses. And thank you for coming to testify. I believe you were there, right, James? And so we wanted some clarity on the state of affairs. And as you mentioned, Chief Carroll sent a letter back this past Saturday that was really inadequate. It did not address really any of the specific questions we had or the data set, which is why I come back to the stop days data. Like, I wonder if that timeline lines up, because that was the time period that we were asking about was August through December. So I've sent a follow-up series of questions to MPD as part of our performance oversight process. That is a set of questions that every year they do answer. And we've included some more specific questions about the federal piece. And so my expectation is that they answer those questions. And then we'll have a hearing next month where we'll also ask Chief Carroll some of these questions on the record. I will say, I have always been a believer that the best way to operate our local government is to do so collaboratively. I appreciate all of the work of our local Metropolitan Police Department officers, and that's why we want to support our local department and handle our public safety locally and not have the federal government come in with all of this. We have been able to request various incidents of body-worn camera footage through MPD because these federal agents don't have the same requirements that our local law enforcement does. Like, they don't wear body-worn camera footage. They, sometimes are masking their faces. And so we are exploring other things that we can do locally with our department to protect our residents. I will also say part of what I have also been doing is advocating at the federal level to our congressional partners and allies on the Hill and the Senate to have them stand up to ICE and really utilize their budget authority, as you said, around funding, their oversight authority, because that's really what we need to happen to rein in ICE in a more meaningful way is at the federal level. And so I'm going to continue to focus on both and what we can do locally and what we can do at the federal government. This past summer, I put back in the budget our sanctuary values law, which disallows coordination with ICE for folks who are in our custody. But we are exploring additional ways we can make sure that all of our residents, including our immigrant neighbors, are protected. And many of them feel right now, understandably, totally traumatized and fearful just to go about daily life. And it's just not acceptable. And so we're going to continue to explore everything we can do. And so thank you to everybody who's kind of stood up and been a thought partner and what more our city can do, and then what more the federal government wants to do, recognizing that we are in a very different position than any other state in the country. And that is not in any way an excuse, but that is just the reality that we have to deal with so that we can move forward in a way, not that just feels good for a moment and then have our autonomy limited or the law be rescinded or something much worse, but to do so in a way that's going to be sustainable for folks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Councilmember. We appreciate you being here and taking the time to brief us and to get our feedback.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all that you do, commissioners and everybody who's here tonight. And I look forward to seeing you in the neighborhood soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oops.
Lastly, this weekend I was at Capital One Arena and just want to, I'm sure you all know, but the phase one of the construction is over. It's amazing. It looks beautiful back there, but a lot of it is kind of the back areas that are less publicly accessible. And so the next phase will go on this summer. We'll start to see some of the, they call it the skin of the
Yes.
exterior of the building. And so continue to let us know how it can be helpful as it relates to noise or other construction issues. But it is employing dozens of district residents. And we're so excited that by 2027, we will have a brand new arena that's going to continue to be such an anchor for downtown. So I just wanted to make sure you all have that update too.
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Have a great day.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We will now move forward into our planning, zoning, environment, and historic preservation. And we're moving this up on our agenda because last month we were not able to get to all of these requests. First on our agenda, we have the National Geographic Society at 1145 17th Street Northwest. This is a BZA extension for BZA 20968. Is anybody here representing National Geographic?
Hi, yeah, this is Kerry Kavlicek from Wilson.
Hey, Kerry, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
This is very brief, hopefully. So we just wanted to be here tonight to share the plan for the extension of the application and request the ANC support in the time extension application. So thank you for your time. As you might recall, 2 years ago, National Geographic went before the BZA just to get special exception approval for a rooftop restaurant and bar on the building on 17th Street. That's on the west side of their campus. The upper floors of that building are planned to be converted to a National Geographic branded hotel with a publicly accessible rooftop bar and restaurant. Frankly, because of the development situation with interest rates and costs of borrowing, in addition to the really diligent construction going on for the new museum that's going on. The hotel project basically was just sort of put on pause, but there is an intention to move forward that eventually. So we're just requesting a 2-year extension of the BZA approval to allow that entitlement to survive. And then we're just requesting that the ANC submit a letter to the BZA in support of that application.
I move that we submit such a letter of support for the application for time extension of BZA 020968.
There's a seconded by Commissioner Lee. I have a couple of questions. Is the building currently occupied?
I do not believe so, no.
Okay.
And in fact, some of the lower floors are being renovated as part of this museum project that's under construction.
Okay, so there is activity that's happening to bring these buildings online before a hotel would necessarily go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The lower floor of this building will be part of this new museum that's supposed to open sometime later this year.
Got it.
There is lots of activity on their entire part of the block, which is huge.
Yes, got it. So the motion has been seconded. I'd like to call a vote.
But I do have one question.
Oh, please.
Is this in any way going to interfere with the opening of your main museum then?
I don't know if you heard the question.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Is this going to
Can you
interfere
hear
with
me
the?
now?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering if this 2-year period is going to have an impact on the reopening of your museum area.
No, it's a separate project. So this is really related to the hotel that would be in that building, but the museum is a separate project that's well underway and anticipated to open this year.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
I would be remiss if I did not put in a plug for the commissioners to be invited to the opening of the complex about which we are so excited.
Yes, I will. I will pass that along to National Geographic.
So the motion has been seconded. I'd like to call a vote on it. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. And Carrie, just to confirm, this is 20968 is the BZA number.
Sorry, yes, 20968A.
A.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll get
Thank
that
you.
on. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Good night.
Next on our agenda is 608 624 I Street Northwest, I Street Residential. This is for a DDOT streetscape permit. Is AJ on with us?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm AJ Luce. I'm here with Kevin McCormick from Monument Realty. I was hoping to share my screen. Here we go. Hopefully this works. You see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. So we're here to talk about 620 I Street, a development that this ANC has been very supportive of during our approval process over the last several years. Start by orienting everyone to 620 I. It's bound by I Street to the north, 6th Street to the east, and 7th to the west. It's a mid-block site, basically this yellow shading on the aerial. Specifically, we are seeking ANC approval for a DDOT public space permit. Big picture, we are improving the current streetscape conditions, revitalizing the sidewalk, adding bike racks, renovating townhome, stairwell entries, adding new planters, adding new trees, and closing the alley curb and extending the brick sidewalk. We will create a vibrant pedestrian experience that will benefit the health and public wellness and safety through these efforts. Let's go to existing conditions. As you can see, the entries could use some TLC. This is existing conditions of 620I. And then some down the sidewalk paths. You can see the sidewalks are in need of repair, and this area, mid-block area, could certainly use some love. So here's a rendering of the new condition as proposed, and as you can see, we'll create a new, clean, and safe portion of I Street. And we have 2 last slides, which are plans, which I'll hand off to Kevin McCormick to walk through.
Good evening, everyone. We're looking down on I Street, plan north. So the streetscape permit is really just limited to this sidewalk. The highlighted portions are indicating the existing and renovated stairwells and areaways for the preserved townhomes. So the work includes new DDOT standard brick pavers, curb and gutter. And then as you go left on the page, you'll see where we're closing that alley curb cut, which was part of the plan and support with DDOT to close that to vehicular traffic. And we're extending the brick sidewalk through the the drive aisle there to connect it. We're adding bike racks on the left there, preserving existing trees and replacing others, adding green space that you can see with the green highlights there. And then if you remember in the photo, the fenced areas with the concrete pavement towards the townhomes, those will be removed. So we're adding some depth to the sidewalk, continuing the brick pavers up to the preserved townhomes. So that's really it. Just a, pretty typical, thorough sidewalk renovation, I think, which will do a lot to this street. So that covers really everything involved in the streetscape permit. So I don't know if there's other slides, or we can open it up to any comments. So this shows again, to the north, I Street, and then where it says 620 I Street, that's encompassing the historic townhomes right off the sidewalk. And then you see the alley, which will be closed off to vehicular traffic with collapsible bollards. And the two other buildings to the west and then to the south of the townhomes. And again, this is for the DDOT streetscape permit.
Awesome. Thank you for taking down that fence and improving that. looks great. I had a question. Is DDOT requiring it to be brick? The reason I'm asking is they are putting forth plans to do a stamped type concrete that looks like brick along 7th Street. And I'm wondering if that's what they're proposing that you do here.
We are aware of the,
Right.
proposed new DDOT standards, but in our submission and design, we're under the current brick standard.
And I think it's only that they haven't been like officially memorialized within DDOT yet. So we're aware that they're out there, and if they were to be like approved and brought forward, we would incorporate the latest and greatest. But this is actually the latest and greatest as of
That
today.
is where we're at now. That's what I knew there was some transition that happened in there. Any other commissioners, do you have any questions? I'd like to move that we send a letter of support for 608, 624 I Street, DDOT 482332. Seconded by Commissioner Lee, and all those in favor. So we have 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. So we will get that off to DDOT for you and send a copy.
Wonderful. We appreciate it so much. Thanks for everything you guys do.
Thank you very much.
You don't have a hearing on this. You just have a submission, right?
There is a hearing, but I think as far as ANC support letter, that is
What you need. Okay.
yeah, perfectly
You got it.
efficient.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys. And sorry about last month.
Understood.
No worries. Thank
We
you.
get it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Daniel Alexander Payne Community Development Corporation at 1518 M Street. This is the Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church. It's a BZA case number 6612, and you must be Zachary.
Yes.
Hi, Zachary.
Am I able to share my screen?
Yes, you may.
Do we need to get him a microphone so people online can hear?
Right behind. It's coming up.
Yay.
Is this working? Can you hear me? Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners and members of the community. My name is Zachary Bradley, and I am here today to present to you the
We have to
relief,
hold a little closer.
the relief we are requesting in BZA case number 21428 on behalf of the Daniel Alexander Payne Community Development Corporation for the project, the 1518 residences at Metropolitan AME. Our hearing date is set for March 18th, 2026, and we are asking for a letter in support of our application. Here you can see the zoning map. The property is located in the D6 zone. It's the area highlighted in blue there. It is fronted by M Street to the north, 16th Street to the west, 15th Street to the east, and at the rear it is abutting a large public alley. Here on the left, you can see a proposed aerial rendering of the residences themselves. You can see that they are set back to the rear of the property, surrounded on all sides by office use and commercial uses. And then at the front of the property, you can see that the historic landmark church operates a large portion of the buildable footprint for the lot. And on the right, you can see the view of the church from M Street. It's difficult to make out, but on the left there's a small side yard between that office building and the church. That is where the primary entrance will be for residents as they enter into the apartment building. Next slide. Oh, sorry. We presented last month, but I will just give a brief overview of the project itself. It is a 27-unit apartment house providing permanent supportive housing for formerly unhoused military veterans. It'll be located directly behind the existing 30,000 square foot church building, which is a historic landmark. And it'll be approximately 17,393 square feet of gross floor area across 12 stories and with a building height of 109 feet. On the left, you can see a rendering of one of the apartment units. You can see that they each come with their own private living area, private sleeping area, private kitchen, and a private bathroom. They are range in size from around 250 square feet to 330 square feet, and there will be ADA accessible units. From the right, you can see the view from the alley. You can see there's a loading dock, which will be used by the church as well as the residents. And then there is a few emergency exits. Again, the primary entrance will be through the side yard fronting M Street. There will be no typical access for the residents into the alley that will be serving only for like emergency purposes. We're seeking 3 areas of relief. The first being an area variance for the rear yard requirements of the downtown zone. We're required to provide 17.5 feet. Given the narrow constraints, which I will show later on, we are only able to provide 12 feet. Next, we're requesting 2 special exception relief, one for the penthouse setback relief, which requires a 1-to-1 setback equal to the height. Our penthouse is currently at 16 feet. Given the narrow constraints of the building, the maximum penthouse height we could have comply with the regulations would be 7 feet. And then we're also requesting long-term bicycle parking. They're required to provide 9, and we are not providing any. So the property is uniquely constrained by the fact that it has a large historic landmark occupying the vast majority of the buildable footprint. So you can see in the image on the right, that is a site plan. At the top of the image would be M Street. At the bottom is the public alley behind the church. The hatched area towards the bottom, that is the residences. So you can see it's a very narrow, only 27 feet in depth. If we were to comply with the zoning regulations, it would reduce the already narrow building footprint, essentially rendering the project infeasible. As far as penthouses or the penthouse relief is concerned, the relief was really necessary to provide code compliant mechanical space. At the bottom of the image on the right, which is again oriented in the same direction, at the top of the image would be M Street, the bottom would be the public alley. All the way to the bottom right corner, that is our penthouse, where our penthouse mechanical space would be located. Again, that will be 16 feet in height. This is the lowest possible height that we could construct it in order to have code compliant mechanical space. Again, the zoning regulations would limit the penthouse to approximately 7 feet, which would make the development infeasible. And finally, as far as bicycle parking is concerned, we are again providing 0 spaces and required by the zoning regulations to provide 9. We believe that the project is typically for veterans who are older in age, making it unlikely that the demand for bicycle parking will be high. And additionally, we're limited by site constraints. Again, under the zoning regulations, the bicycle parking must be located in either the first level below grade, the at grade level, or the first level above grade. And the vast majority of that space is dedicated to programmatic space for the residents themselves of the apartment building. And so we are limited by site constraints, and we are also providing short-term bicycle parking where feasible. And that brings us to the conclusion. Once again, we're asking for a letter in support in the BZA record, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I move that we provide a support letter for this project for BZA temp case number 6612.
Commissioner Groth, it's actually, we do have a permanent BZA number. It is on the first slide, 21428.
Okay.
Terrific. So there's a motion on the floor, seconded by Commissioner Lee. Are there any discussion?
I believe there's bike share racks, city bikes and whatnot on the block also, aren't there?
Yes, there is. They're very close, as well as being within the transit reduction for the metro lines as well.
You're averaging about 2 units per floor.
Yes, yeah.
And I do have a question related to your presentation last month. This issue for homeless retired soldiers. This is in conjunction with that in some way?
Yes, it's the same project. Last month, we were providing a general overview that went a little more in detail about the financing and the development itself, but this is the relief in conjunction with that presentation.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, could you go back to the slide with the rendering of an individual unit? It kind of gives you a sense of the larger units, probably the 330 square feet ones are the ADA ones because you need more space for a wheelchair to turn around in the bathroom and all that, but 250 to 330 square feet of private space.
That's great.
With wraparound services for permanent supportive housing.
So there is a motion on the floor and a second. I'll call the votes for this. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of this. So I will send a letter of support off. And we'll get that off for you.
Wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda is the Woody's Building at 1025 F Street. This is a zoning commission, a PUD modification. And I'm going to turn it over to, I guess, Drew to start with.
Yes, thank you all, commissioners, members of the community, those online. My name is Drew Turner. I'm with Douglas Development, and we are here to present, and we'll be presenting here in a second. Just give it a second to share the screen. There we go. We were here in December, and we are back here to provide some updates as it relates to the PUD modification of PUD from 2001 that was tied to the original renovation of 1025 F Street, otherwise known as the Woody's Building. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk you through some of the history of our involvement with the project. The project has great, rich history prior to us. We're also going to speak to that original PUD that we're here to modify in a little bit more detail, just to give some background. And then we heard the commissioners and the community loud and clear the last time we were here in December that we're talking about ground floor retail space. There should be some really community benefit, community outreach related to it. We're here to speak to that as well. And then we're also here to share some updated renderings and some imagery that has not been shared yet publicly, but we're excited to share it today because we're really enthusiastic, excited about what the possibilities here are at this corner. So the property, as you can see on the screen, is located between 10th and 11th Street and bound by F and G. Really, as you see it, it's almost kind of the heart of downtown. It's an entire city block, which is pretty rare for one building to sit on one full city block. A few blocks from the Capital One Arena that we all heard Councilwoman Pinto speak very fondly of the fact that it's going to be reinvented and reimagined, and we're looking forward to that, as well as the F Street plans that they're doing in front of the Portrait Building. We think it's going to be a great way to kind of reinvent and reactivate that space. And we think this proposed use is kind of in tune with that reinvention of the way we think of downtown. You can go to the next slide. So the history goes back to 1905 when the Woody's building was originally built. Our involvement didn't come in until 2001, which is still, in terms of a development life cycle, to still be involved in a project 25 years later after you've already reinvented it. It's something we pride ourselves in at Douglas Development. We are long-term owners. We've been in this city for 30 years, and we look forward to being here for 30 years further. But what spurred the original redevelopment was the Woody's building was a department store downtowns at that time in the 50s and 60s. That's where the shopping centers were. And this was kind of the epicenter of retail and shopping in DC. Unfortunately, the world changed, people's behavior changed, where people lived changed. The rise of the suburbs and the mall left something like the Woody's department store a little bit behind. And in the 90s, it closed, it shutters its doors, and it sat vacant for the better part of a decade. And that's when our involvement got in, and Douglas was the successful developer in terms of bidding on the project. And one of the main reasons he was successful in that is he decided and saw the future of being able to repurpose this historic building, to not tear it down, to save this historic landmark and bring it back to really its original glory. And we think we've done a great job of that with, you know, some of the retailers that are listed here: West Elm, H&M, Zara, Forever 21, coming to this location in 2001. That was, you know, at the time, there wasn't really much down here. And this was a catalyst in helping to redevelop what is F Street and downtown today. So you can go to the next slide. So the next slide is really just to walk through. We are here to talk about the amendment to a PUD, and we do have Land Use Council here to speak to some of those legally details. But I thought it was easier just to walk you through it really at a high level of what the intention of that original PUD was, as far as both benefits to the community and responsibility and obligations that Douglas had. And there were really three key things, one of which was renovating and rehabilitating this historic building. And that was done with painstaking detail, and no expense was spared. We worked very closely with National Park Service, HPRB, HPO, all the different historic agencies to bring that building back to life. This is in 2001 as a reminder. And in addition to that, the other big component of it was providing residential downtown. At that time, there was very little residential downtown, and Douglas was obligated to take several properties he did own, and rather than doing what he would traditionally do, which he was a commercial office developer, he was obligated to provide residential on those. And if you look at 400 Massachusetts Avenue, a very large apartment building that is still residential to this day, without this original PUD, that would not have been built, as well as a smaller building along F Street that is also still residential today. And then the third and final piece of it, as it relates to what we're here today for, is having a specialty of uses within the building. And those included retail, service, arts related, and office space. One kind of nuance to that is there was nothing necessarily specific in that PUD that said it had to necessarily be open to the public. And I know that's something that we talked a lot about in our last meeting when we were here. And what we feel like we're bringing to the table today is really an enhancement to that original PUD, considering that all of the original requirements of that PUD have been met. And this is just an addition to that. If you go to the next slide. So on this slide, I really wanted to talk to a little bit about the changing landscape of downtown, and specifically to this building. What you've got here is the floor plans, the ground floor, F Street's to the bottom, 11th Street's to the right, 10th is to the left, and then T Street's at the top of the plan. And as we all know, we all see it, the past 5 years downtown with 2020, COVID-19 pandemic, the landscape of downtown has changed dramatically. People, though more people are fortunately back downtown at the office, it's still very much the ripple effect and after effect of COVID still persist. Office vacancies are significantly high. Return to office is still somewhat slow here in Washington, D.C., and it may have peaked, and it's peaking at a level well below what it was in 2019. So there's just not as much foot traffic as there once was downtown. In addition to that, Councilwoman Pinto hinted at it, The federal government has made a significant cutback here in Washington, D.C. We are feeling that effect. There's less jobs from the federal government. There's less agencies here. And once again, that's just less people. Without people, it's hard to support retail. And then finally, there's the rise of e-commerce, which was already happening before COVID. And today it's even more so. And so really what we're proposing here and what we feel like we've done a great job of is maintaining as much of that original concept of the PUD from 2001. We have been able to retain H&M, which you see on the screen here. They take up about 22,000 square feet of that ground floor, as well as some lower level space. And then Zara, unfortunately, moved out of their space. As far as I know, they still don't have any plans to return to downtown, but we were very fortunate in landing Barnes & Noble for their space on the first floor and ground floor. And for those interested, they are scheduled to open next week, and we're extremely excited about that. And so what we're talking about is this corner becoming this somewhat unique use between office, and I'll let the team from Netflix really describe it more. But when you look at the overall floor plate, still roughly 75% of the ground floor is dedicated to retail. And we think this complementary use from Netflix is a great opportunity for the neighborhood, for the building, and for downtown. So I'm going to pass it over to Will from Netflix to speak a little bit more detail about the community benefits.
Thanks, Will from Netflix. We really appreciate your help in guiding us, explaining your reservations, and then giving us hopefully a path to success. The things that we heard from you are one, you want entrance and you want the community to be able to be part of this, as do we. With that, we are committing to, when we have screenings at least 4 times a year, we will invite members of the community to join us. The second thing is we really do want to help DC's film culture and industry. We've been very fortunate to find Women in Film and Video DC. We work very closely with their sister agency in Los Angeles, so this is a wonderful fit. We will commit to supporting them with $25,000 for professional development programs. And the third thing we heard was that you wanted a little more flash and pizzazz in the exterior and in the building. And to bring you there, we have my friend and colleague Keith, who's going to go through the new vision.
Thank you. Flash and pizzazz. So we brought up the original images that we shared last week just to ground us in what we heard from you, what we heard from that hearing, and showing you where we started. So from there, we're going to talk mostly about the exterior. Next slide. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the overall property. You see the exterior in the top corner, but this facility on the ground floor will be co-working by day, pre-function opportunities at night. There's going to be a very large 50-person multi-function screening facility. We see the red carpet arrival opportunity. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Welcome center in there for the guests that are invited to this facility, and then obviously traditional office space scattered throughout. Next slide. So as we think about how do we use our content to activate the street. This is an example of us activating the window displays with our content in what we think is a really unique way. Inside the vestibule, we're also creating opportunities to engage with the public as well. And we'll do a blow up of that slide. So this is an idea of what it could look like during the day and how our content can activate the street and engage with the public. The flip side is at night, when we have screenings, the idea that alcove becomes a red carpet event and additional photo ops, this is for invited guests, but the idea that it could be both day and night activated differently for different constituents that are involved in this facility. The next slide. That was the 11th Street facade. This is the F Street facade. And again, just a different idea of how we can activate the window displays, bring more life, more color. As we compare these to the images last week, we're hoping this meets, as Will said, the flash and pizzazz. But we're really excited about this corner contributing to the broader F Street revitalization and reimagine of what that corridor can become for the pedestrians and residents of the district. Next slide. So a blow up of the entry during the day, this idea that there could be photo op opportunities. That's a doll from one of our Squid Games, if you're familiar with that show. So what does that look like? But then at night, a blow up, next slide, of the red carpet event inside this vestibule, this alcove that we're creating that's outdoors. Just again, a night and daytime view of what that can be. And then we wanted to leave you with this final image of what we think the transition from daytime to nighttime could look like, and how activated this corner can be both during the day and at night. And we'll leave you with that. Next question. Thank you for your time.
Sorry about that. Awesome.
Michael, there's a question in the chat, Michael.
Yes, I see the question in the chat. So first of all, thank you so much for taking our feedback at our last meeting and coming back with this new vision of this space. And we do appreciate what you've done and the time that you've taken to do this. The question in the chat was related to it was a question from a constituent related to the contribution to women film and video being a one-time gift. Is that correct?
So we're above my weight. My understanding is that it has to be an actuable moment, so we can only, as part of this, offer a one-time gift. I can let you know that we have made a 3-year commitment for that.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Yep.
Yes, definitely. The PUD process requires this to be done and resolved prior to you getting in the process. Jeff, you can.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, commissioners. It's related to the certificate of occupancy, related to the space. So that's why we are very kind of finely tuning that particular condition to the C of O. But then there is an indication, that this relationship will continue and flourish.
Awesome. And I'm sure that Netflix contribution, just for folks here, that Netflix contribution and their community engagement will continue for years to come here and be able to expand as well. There is another question, Lucas.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Happy New Year. Just wanted to comment. I'm Lucas Somania, Director of Public Space Operations here. Thank you so much to the Douglas Development Team and the Netflix. We appreciate your investment in downtown, and I'm excited to have you guys in the area. I would love to connect with you, Netflix team, to figure out a way to continue to really bring you into the community and what is DC and what is needed. Our organization does a lot of work in downtown, and would love to connect with you all. So if the commissioners wouldn't mind giving my email and contact information, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much for the investment. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. Any other questions? Go ahead.
My name is Thomas Lee. I'm looking at the images here. Great job on the imagery. That really helps us to envision what this place will now look like. Question for you is there going to be Netflix, a marquee or branding? I don't see anything that says that this is a Netflix space. Is there going to be signage, or is there going to be just communicated through the video screens?
Inside the vestibule, there will be signage through those glass doors. So as you were walking up to the vestibule, you will be able to see our N logo. We're not currently contemplating any exterior sort of loud Netflix branding. There might ultimately be the Netflix logo or the Netflix word mark on the content. And as you look in the window displays there, and the idea is that content would change out with whatever the hot show is or something like that. And but that would be part of the window displays. not currently anything like, say, and a lot of it's historic in terms of
Yes.
being able to put signage on it. Yeah.
We do have support from HBO's office. They've seen this updated package. And it's not to say that there might be still some opportunity here for some branding, but it will be a little bit subtle, similar to the rest of the signage that's around the building.
Absolutely.
One other question. I see that you have some visuals, video screens. Will there be speakers outside? Will there be music or, to go along with the visuals?
No, not currently. No exterior sound. There could be for red carpet events to the extent it's allowed, and part of the noise ordinance. So we don't want to get sideways with the noise ordinance. But there might be the additional pomp and circumstance for the red carpet event. But day to day, it would just be visuals and no outside broadcast of sound.
And that sounds good to me. Especially with the funding of the sound mitigation.
Yes.
I'd like to move that we send a letter of support to the zoning commission for this PUD modification.
I will second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Swart. All those in favor? So we have 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. We still have a question. No, we asked the question. We will get that letter of support off for you.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the support.
We appreciate that very much. And thank you again for being here and working with the community. And we look forward to having you as neighbors.
And we'll make sure we let you know when the grand opening event is.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. We will move forward with community announcements. Do we have, I saw Commissioner Garvin on there first. No. Oh, he had to leave? Okay. Commissioner Garvin, I had to log off. He had indicated that there was a notable arrest that occurred today at approximately 1:30 p.m. involving a robbery snatch in the city center area, during which the subject snatched a victim's phone, and they were able to apprehend him, and he was charged with robbery snatch. So I didn't know there was such a thing as robbery snatch, but okay, fabulous, done. So anybody from MPD 1 on with us?
Yes, sir. We have myself. My name is Commander Christopher Gillespie. I just want to jump on and introduce myself. I'm just holding the stead for a little bit, couple weeks, until Commander Hall comes back. He went to the FBI National Academy, but I definitely want to make sure you guys have a face with the name and introduce myself. Also have Lieutenant Tutt on. She'll be talking a little bit more about the criminal activity in the immediate area. However, just a little bit about myself. I've been on about 20 years now. I've worked in many different districts, 3, 5, 6, 7, a lot in detectives, narcotics, as well as the academy. So I'm very excited to be here. I did oversee in the CID world 1D as well, so I'm kind of familiar with some of the issues, but definitely excited to be here and want to introduce myself and meet with you guys and work with you. So hello.
Awesome. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Then I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Tutt.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Commander. I'm Lieutenant Ursula Tutt. I have 15 years of experience on the Metropolitan Police Department. I'm new to 1D. I am the PSA lieutenant for Chinatown, and I work midnights. I'm going to be filling in for Captain Herbenack. And over the last 30 days in PSA 101, violent crime is trending down. Robberies has decreased from 2 last year to 0 this year during the same 30-day time period. We did see a property crime has increased about 17%. Of those property crimes, it has been theft from autos and retail thefts. MPD and 1D we will continue our posture using high visibility patrols and focusing on repeat locations and pattern relocations. Also, we'll be partnering up to do a retail operation. And just a reminder to during this winter months to, make sure that you put all your valuables away, keep them out of plain sight in the vehicles because we have seen an increase in theft from autos. Capital One Arena, no big concerts are coming up. We do have Wizards games and Georgetown games. 1D and SOD plan on working crime prevention in that area. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Awesome. Thank you, Lieutenant Tutt. I appreciate your update as well. And very nice to meet you as well. Yes, we do have a question in the audience. If you could come to the mic, that would be great. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
But I'll let Susan go first since she's already said.
Hi, I live downtown in Penn Quarter. And over the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's, Teaism was broken into. They've got a shop and they've got a restaurant, and the glass doors were broken. And they have on camera, they've got some kids. I don't know if they were accompanied by adults, but the kids were supposed to be young enough not to be able to stay in jail. They'd be getting like a free pass. And what is disturbing to me right now is that I understand that the two people that own the Teaism shop and restaurant are not reporting this. You're just going to let it, whatever. They're not reporting it. And I'm a concerned citizen because I think that unless there's some sort of oversight of these kids, it's going to just, they'll graduate to something else. Maybe not immediately, but down the line. And so thievery and all of this is going to become okay to an increasing number of people, possibly. I mean, it's just doing things without any consequences. And I'm not sure as a citizen what to do. And I cannot report this because it's not mine. What was violated is not mine. So I cannot put in a citizen's report. I'm just frustrated. I'm not sure what I can do. I'm not going to stay awake until 3 o'clock in the morning and watch the neighborhood. Is there something that I can do or something that should be done by others?
Yeah, I could. So I really appreciate your question and nice meeting you. So just a quick update. So we're at the Teaism. We did make a couple of arrests and reps of that. So they did go forward with the thing. We were able to hold those individuals accountable. There's 4 individuals. But as reference says what you can do. Just because somebody does not either want to report it or not report it, if you see a crime, and I'm not asking you to stay awake till 3 in the morning by all means, but if you see a crime, by all means, call us. Because just because somebody does not want to go forward does not mean the MPD will not prosecute or the U.S. Attorney's Office will not prosecute. We have looked at the totality of circumstances, whether it be from video surveillance, other witness accounts, obviously the complainant accounts. We can still go forward with that. So I wouldn't be disheartened. We need more individuals like you, that care about the community, and definitely, if you see something, definitely give us a call. And then just in reps to burglars in general, I'll just make a real plug. I just always encourage everyone to make sure they have any type of cameras, video surveillance, alarm systems, and make sure you know who they're calling. If someone in the glass were to break, who the alarm system is going to call, right? It should be calling 911, so we're going to get the people dispatched out immediately and apprehend the individuals. And you have any other questions?
No, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that there's some sort of consequences because without them, it's just going to grow. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
And thank you, Commander Dorsey, for bringing up that if businesses and residents do have alarms, please make sure that the contact is updated on it so that when the police do come out, they have someone to contact who is there. Oftentimes businesses change managers, et cetera, and it's an old number. So.
Yeah, then also when an alarm goes off, if it's calling 911, because sometimes what happens is the alarm will go off and call the wrong number, and then they don't, or call, no one answers, then we don't even know about it until later. But if it calls 911 immediately, we go up there, dispatch it, and that's when we have a chance to catch individuals in the act.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Thank you. Commissioner Lee.
You want to go first?
Oh, Commissioner Swart.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Commissioner Lee.
Commander Dorsey, thank you so much for letting us know that the individuals that committed this crime at Teaism were caught. I do have another question for you. One of my neighbors sent me an email asking about some Jersey barriers on the southeast corner of 7th and F Street. So directly in front of Nivita, the restaurant. And she asked me whether, those Jersey barriers that are painted red on the sidewalk are going to remain. I've told her I think that they're there to protect the F Street from wayward cars, since Monumental Sports is, closing off F Street during, before games, as people, go out on F Street to wait to enter the arena. But you wanted to know, do you know why those Jersey barriers are there on the sidewalk?
All right, so unfortunately for the Jersey Brothers, I have to look into it. Like I said, I was just stepping in this role. I'm just only holding down the fort for a little bit, but so I'll look into it and get back with you.
Commander, I do believe that those Jersey barriers are only utilized for Capital One Arena events, for crowd control.
Okay.
Gavin, there you go.
This is Lucas from downtown DC bid. Those were put there last year, and that's correct, Commissioner Schenko, about how they are related to the Capital One street closure and for protection. So I believe they're on the east and west side of F Street, and I believe also on the north and south side of 6th and 7th on F. So they will remain there for the foreseeable future, I believe.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Swart.
And Commander Dorsey and Lieutenant Tutt, I just want to express our sympathy for the death of an MPD First District officer, Terry Bennett, and our hearts go out to you and to his family.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. There's no other questions.
Commander Dorsey, this is Lucas Umania. I work for the Downtown DC Business Improvement District. I work closely with Commander Hall. Very excited to work with you and Lieutenant Tutt. And I sent you an invite for our Safety Alliance meeting tomorrow. And hopefully you could come and introduce yourself to our stakeholders there. It'd be awesome.
Copy that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Looking forward to working together.
Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you all so much for being here, and it's a pleasure meeting both of you. And thank you for your service. Next up, we have Metro Transit Police, and Lieutenant Barca is in the room with us. Hi there. Perfect. He knows how to work a mic. That's great.
Lieutenant Bargy, we closed out 2025 on a really high note. We had the lowest crime rate in our history in 2025. The way we calculate that out is by per million riders. We had 3 crimes that are reportable in a specific way per million riders, which is just unbelievable. That was our average for the year. For frame of reference, 2025 or 2024 is when we started to see our dip in crime based on the way that we were deploying our officers. So for 2024, we had right around 5 per million riders. And then years previous, it was up around 8 and 9. So we've managed to bring crime, like I said, lower than we've ever had. Specifically in this area, Gallery Place is one of our hotspots, always is, always will be. We have seen a slight trend up in assaults, but we don't really have a pattern there. Sometimes it's on the train, sometimes at the fare gates, sometimes coming down the escalator. So we're doing our best to try to put officers in more locations, do more train rides, just be more visible in an attempt to like I said, show more visibility and prevent those from happening as best we can. The high note with this is we have over a 50% closure rate on scene arrest. So we're catching the people not long after they're committing the offenses. So we're doing everything we can, but like I said, finished really, really high last year. three crimes per million riders is an excellent number. We're really proud of that.
I would be really proud of that.
It's going to be hard to beat this year, but we're gonna do our best.
That's amazing.
Anybody have any questions?
I had a question for you.
Yes.
I've seen on Reddit, I don't know how reliable this is, that in December that someone was apprehended in Gallery Place Metro with an assault rifle. Are you aware of that?
I didn't.
Okay.
That did not come across my desk.
Okay.
It's definitely something I would have heard of.
That's what I thought. And I just was like, that just does not seem probable to me because I didn't hear about it anywhere else except on Reddit. Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for accommodating our mixed up schedule this time. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next up is the Office of Mayor Ward 2 Mayor's Liaisons. And I think I see Jamika Williams on there with us tonight. Ms. Williams?
Hi, can you hear me? This is.
Hello there.
Hi, this is Tiffany Lamenta. But I'm
hi,
also
Tiffany.
a
How are
Ward
you?
2 voter. Good. How are you? Sorry for the last minute switch up. I think Jamika is also online, but I'm taking the lead for the 2C ANC meeting today. I just started yesterday with the Mokers. And I'm very excited to get to know you all and learn all the ins and outs of your communities and how I can help you and how the mayor's office can help you all support your residents and businesses.
Awesome. Well, it's very nice to meet you. And are you going to be replacing
Good to meet you as well.
Ty and Adriana?
Correct. Yes. Ty and Adriana are no longer with the Mokers team. Now for the Ward 2 is going to be myself and Jamika Williams.
Okay, excellent.
And I do have one announcement, and that is that we are looking for some Snow Team Heroes volunteers. And I'll make sure to send that flyer to the ANC commissioners today. Just after this meeting. That is for helping out elderly residents clear out snow when we get those later on in the season. Yeah. Jamika, do you have anything to add?
Awesome.
Hello, I'm Jim Swart. Welcome aboard. It's going to be nice working with you. And please keep an ear on the ground in terms of the Sound Mitigation Act and its move through the mayor's office and other government entities. I would certainly appreciate that.
Will do.
And
will do. Thank you so much for flagging that.
Thank you.
And one of the challenges that you will repeatedly hear me indicate is related to our unhoused citizens who are living under the portico of the library and getting them the services they need and off the streets. That is a key piece. And I know that there's a variety of reasons that people don't want to go to shelters, but the crowd is growing and growing and growing, and we're up to over 100 individuals sleeping under the portico every evening. So, which is very disturbing.
Thank you for the update.
And
yeah,
and again, I just would flag that there is no restroom for after hours for these individuals. And they are forced to urinate and defecate in the flower beds around the library, and our whole street smells like a urinal. And it really, and the library does what they can to wash down that area, but we really need to enhance the cleaning of around the area. It's becoming a major crisis. So,
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you for letting me know all that. I will, yeah. Yeah, definitely saddens me, and I will follow up with the correct services to see what we can do to make sure that gets taken care of.
Awesome.
Welcome to 2C. Might be a good time to flag the point in time count that's happening January 28th. And at least last year, there was a locus of the meetup place before teams went out in our direct area was at the church right next to the library. So people want to.
Could you repeat?
Yeah, the point in time.
The event?
Yeah, it's called the PIT, point in time count. Once a year, every year in January, we count and we send out volunteers through literally the city to count and log in the people who are outdoors overnight.
Have they trained volunteers for that yet?
There's training as soon as you register to participate. There's a video thing that you go through. Last year, I realized that the bright headlights on my chair were probably not suited for doing this overnight. But I went to the gathering event at the church, and it was really inspiring to see how hard Pathways to Housing is working and how kind of the complexity of all of the partners that are working together to try to come up with solutions. So
awesome. Thank you for that.
Nancy, it's the event this year is on January 28th, and the meetup is at 8 p.m. It's from 8 to 12. One of the real big points around the importance of this point in time is because it's tied to federal funding. So depending on the amount of unhoused community you have, that contributes to the amount of money you get federally around homeless services.
Yeah, hugely important.
Yeah, so we are involved in that. Sorry, Nancy.
Oh, yes. I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's hugely, hugely important. I just had a kind of a local.
I think Nancy has frozen. Oh, she's back.
Am I back?
Yes.
Spotty internet connection, sorry. It just also gives you a very hyper local sense of who and where people actually are that you may not see during the day, and where people shelter and what is attractive as shelter. It's obviously the throngs at the library and at the Downtown Day Services Center are a whole thing themselves, but there's also the one by one people in our neighborhoods that we may not be aware of.
Yes. Terrific. Thank you so much from the mayor's office. We appreciate you being here.
And this is Jamaica. I also wanted to add that I'm going to also reach out to Jamal Weldon. He's with DMHHS. As far as with the library, just reporting the encampments, because they'll be able to help provide services to help house the individuals and provide wraparound services.
Awesome. Thank you. And
Jamaica and
welcome you too.
Jamaica and Tiffany, do you mind putting your contact information in the chat for us? I used to work very closely with Ty, and would love to, we have a great working relationship, so would love to continue that.
That'd be perfect.
Yes, thank you for the reminder to do that. Yes, we will do that.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
If you could email it to me as secretary, I'll make sure it's in the minutes. Also, we appreciate short presentations.
We'll move forward with the downtown bid, and I see we have Eloise and Lucas on with us.
It's me. Yes, Eloise had to jump. It's me. Let me share my screen. Are you all able to see it?
Yes, we can hear it. We can see
Awesome.
it. Sorry.
So I was Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to 2026. Like it or not, here we go. 2025, obviously a lot of new challenges that we hadn't experienced before, but I think in all challenges, one of the things that uh, gave me a lot of hope was the way it brought us together. And I think collaboration was such a big moment in 2025 for DC. So I appreciate all our partners on the call, um, all the commissioners, because it really did take a big effort by our entire community to make through some of the challenges we had. And I'm sure 2026 will have its own challenges. But I feel that if we continue to work together, we could do some incredible things and amazing things in 2026. So I appreciate you allowing us to be here and for the continued partnership. I'd like to start off with some of the clean and safe data. I think this is a key. It's the foundation of really our organization and how we contribute. You can't have safe without clean, and you can't have clean without safe. And those are really the foundation for creating a neighborhood that people not only want to work and live in, but also visit. So in December, we collected over 22,000 bags, over 136,000 pounds of trash that our team was responsible for removing. In 2025, we collected over 1 million pounds of trash in downtown in the 140 blocks that the bid is responsible for. Stickers, graffiti, posters, that's a big part of it. And, these are just cases, but some of these cases had 2, 3, or 4 elements. So that number is really much higher than the 183 that you see there. As you know, with a lot of the political challenges we had, there was a ton of posters throughout the entire, all of DC, really, not just in downtown DC. Our safety team, which is part of the Safe Corridor grant that is by the deputy mayors of justice and public safety. We have 2 personnel out there for 372 total hours. Our bid personnel hours alone in Chinatown in December were 2,300 hours. And the reason you see a big change from November to December is really around the holiday market because of our support for the holiday market, which was operating 7 days a week for, from 11 to 9 p.m. daily. Our safety team, each corner has a digital checkpoint, which when any of our team members pass one of the areas, it automatically logs it. And that's what those 3,856. And then our business wellness checks is really our safety team going into the ground floor retail spaces and just checking to make sure that everything's all right. It's a great way to build relationships with the business owners and the employees of the business. And when you build relationships, it builds trust, and it allows you to gather information that we then pass on to our partners. These are just some of the functions of our team. A lot of it is really about, clean and safe, but also activating dormant spaces. We have green space maintenance. Right now, leaf collection
Got my
season
folder for this other meeting.
really ended. And now we're focusing on inclement weather, whether it's snow, keeping the city drains clean, because that's a big issue, particularly when it snows. The bike lanes, we're responsible for all the bike lane cleaning, including around snow removal. And that way we keep our commuters on our bikes. And I ride a bike every day. So I appreciate that work. It makes it much easier for me to get around. Some of the upcoming activations, the skate activation at National Building Museum is still going on. It goes on till February 9th. We have the Crew of Pyro Second Line Parade, which is a New Orleans-based organization that has a home in DC here in the bid. And we have a parade that is happening on January 31st with an activation that will happen at Anthem Row. The parade is the same route as the Lunar New Year parade, but an opposite. So it'll go from 6th and I to 7th and I down 7th Street to G up to 8th, and then taking 8th Street all the way to Anthem Row, with which will end with live music and a flag raising, and that's really the kickoff of Mardi Gras. And then we also have, Lunar New Year will have a tremendous different look this year around a lot of the activations that are happening. The parade will still happen on Sunday, February 22nd, but this year we're going to have a lot of activations that we're doing in partnership with some of the groups in the Chinatown community. The first one will be Midnight Madness, which will be pretty much the Lunar New Year kickoff. And we will bless a lot of the businesses in the area with lion dances. And then we will also do some lion dances under the lantern that we'll have at Anthem Row. I'm very excited about this year's Lunar New Year. It's going to be 2 weeks of small and passive activations. And really, the whole point of why we're doing this in this approach this year is because we really want to put a lot of emphasis on promoting and highlighting our businesses in Chinatown to really drive a lot of foot traffic and economic impact to our business owners, which is really a big part of the work that the bid is doing. This picture on the right, on December 13th, we broke a world record for most couples kissing under a mistletoe and this was a Guinness World Record attempt that we executed, and we had over 1,400 couples show up at Anthem Row, and this was the picture that has gone viral. We had one of our posts has over 5 million views. And it was a great way to, the energy around DC on that particular day between this event, the holiday market. We also had the John Cena final match all in that weekend, which the energy was awesome. And I hope it didn't cause a lot of challenges for our stakeholders, particularly our community that lives in downtown. But I really, that is the type of experiences we have to create to continue to drive people to downtown, which is extremely important to the success of our businesses. And here's one of this was Midnight Madness last year with a lion dance at the lantern. So we will be working with Mei Lee this year again to do a Lunar New Year lantern. And then the picture on the right is of us with the Guinness Book of World Record under the national mistletoe. And the reason I like to showcase these is because really public art is a way to beautify our city, but also to create activations around these public art installations to drive economic impact for our community. Our safety team, this is some of the updates. We're now 20 months into the program. I think the big highlight is really around the business wellness checks that we do, because I think that's really how you get information, you build trust, and you get information from our stakeholders that we're able to use and pass along to our partners to be proactive, not reactive. Technology is a big part of this team. We've created a whole operational app that allows us to drop smart tags, which are essentially digital stories of our daily observations. And this data is used to provide to either our stakeholders or to our partners. And that's our presentation for the day. I'm happy to take any questions or any comments.
I see Commissioner Groth has her hand up.
Hi, Lucas.
Hey, how's it going, Commissioner?
Great. I adore your ambassadors, as you know. I always stop when I see your ambassadors and thank them for their service and introduce myself and get their name. And I love your ambassadors.
Thank you.
I emailed you, I don't remember when, a while ago, about the Starbucks at 15th and K, which is right across from McPherson Square. And their manager, Aaliyah, is just an astounding manager of her people and really community oriented. And she's really well resourced with MPD. But I really think that downtown bid could be part of her challenge with unhoused people of the neighborhood, because it's such a prominent and conspicuous location on the corner, and because of the highly corporate name. I think they're targeted in a lot of ways that other businesses are not. So it's an ongoing challenge. She's incredibly compassionate. She's done many outreach and food drives and coat drives and all sorts of things for the folk in McPherson Square. But could you have your people circle back with her and be kind of the third part between what she's doing and what she asks MPD to do? She has a very long list of stay away orders that MPD has implemented for her. But if we could defuse some of this before it gets to that, that would be just a huge boon to our neighborhood.
Absolutely. Our new director of homeless services, Sean, reached out and connected with her. But I've also been connected with Starbucks has a new area manager that just reached out to me. So we're also just going to continue to talk to see what services and support we can provide around some of the challenges they're experiencing. Obviously with McPherson there, which is a big area for the unhoused community. So it will, we'd love to make sure that we're able to support their business in whatever capacity we need.
Yeah, particularly weekends also. I don't know if you have ambassadors on the weekends, but in the weekends, there's a lot of suburban churches that bring feeding food distribution in. So big line forms, and that doesn't always, it sometimes becomes unruly. And then people need to go to the bathroom, and it's just a thing. So
yeah, no, I mean, I it's great that these organizations want to do good, but sometimes it makes it challenging, especially if it's not coordinated.
Correct.
If it was coordinated with our organization, which does a lot of work around the unhoused community, that's some of the things that we're trying to work on for this year. How to coordinate better with these organizations, because I think intentionality is so critical, particularly around some of the challenges that we're dealing with in the unhoused community.
Oh, especially when you're dealing with unintended
sorry, we're going to have to
consequences.
move forward. We are over our time. I did want to put two things on your radar, Lucas, and I can follow up with you. I've received several emails from folks about screws and debris and washers all over the tree beds on F Street around the holiday market. And there is also a couple emails from folks that are claiming their dogs have been shocked from the trees as they've peed on the lighting around the trees. I don't know, but I can connect you. But I just want
please connect me, and then we are working on cleaning up those screws and washers that were left by the team that runs the holiday market.
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
No problem. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Happy New Year, too. We're moving on to announcements. Nancy, you want to talk about ranked choice voting?
There we go. Hi. Could you show I emailed you with all the documents, the flyer for the event, and Willie Flowers is online. He's the vendor of the dispensary that's hosting this event. In my SMD, it's next week. If you could show the flyer, that would be great. There's a
Working on it.
community event on ranked choice voting, which almost none of us really quite can wrap our heads around, with the head of the Board of Elections. And there's going to be a demo and sample ballots, and so that you can see how that actually all works, and various other things about elections. So
Try in here. There we go.
there we go. Next Wednesday, 5:30, there's a happy hour until the actual program starts. And Mr. Flowers can tell more.
Yes, we want to invite everybody out. Everybody should know about the new initiative. And so we'll have a special guest, the executive director of the DC Board of Elections, Monica Holman Evans, and she can give you all the information you need. There will be sample ballots and I think voting machines. So you can get a good simulation on the details of it. So if you want to swing by, please do so. It'll be a happy hour, so come and enjoy.
Great. Thank you for that. I think it's really awesome that you guys are doing this, because it is going to be a change, definitely for voting.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing that with us. We now move on to our local events that impact the community. This is a consent agenda. We have 2 items, St. Jude's Rock and Roll DC Half Marathon and 5K on Saturday, March 21st, 2026. This benefits St. Jude's in our DC 26. And then there is the Race for Hope 5K, which is Sunday, May 3rd, 2026, which is the National Brain Tumor Society, benefits the National Brain Tumor Society. And I see Diane Thomas is on with us this evening. Commissioners, do you have any questions? It's the normal path downtown. I'd move that we send a letter of support for both of these events. They've been held previously and they've all been executed great. Seconded by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. Commissioner Groth, did I see your hand go up? I'm sorry. Yep. Okay. Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miscalculate. Okay. So we will get, Diane, did you want to say anything about your events? Not necessary.
I mean, no, I just appreciate the support every year for these 2 events. So I'm available for questions anytime. I'll provide my cell phone a week out and you guys call me with any problems.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you. And thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And next on our agenda, under APCA, which is an additional item that we added. This was brought by Commissioner Groth to support 2B's resolution and protest to APCA related to the Onyx. Commissioner, do you want to?
I believe you have Alex Marshall in the room from.
Yes, Alex is here.
2B.
Yes, please.
Everyone, I'm the commissioner in 2B05. I'm immediately north of Commissioner Roth's district.
Yeah.
So we have had a nightclub in our district that we have been protesting, seeking a settlement agreement for a number of months now, and they've been completely uncooperative. We have a protest hearing at ABCA on February the 4th. And I recently learned that in addition to ANCs that protest, other ANCs that are in an affected area, which your ANC is, it's immediately across the street from Commissioner Groth's district, so well within the 600 feet limit, are able to send a letter to ABCA to express your views on the application. So I believe Commissioner Groth has shared with you a proposed letter to send to ABCA supporting the efforts of ANC 2B to seek a settlement agreement. And if in the event that the licensee does not agree to a settlement agreement, requests that the ABC board issue a board order that includes many of the items that we're looking for in a settlement agreement. I would not ask for this on the average protest, but this has been an exceptionally challenging business, and we're simply seeking our standard settlement agreement. It's immediately across the alley from a residential building where folks aren't able to sleep, and we're going to have a office to residential conversion 15 feet away with 160 units that are going to be severely affected by this business.
This isn't a new license, it's a renewal license, is that
So
right?
it's a renewal. It's a little complicated. They were new earlier this year, but because of ABCA's renewal process, they actually are up for renewal the same year they opened.
Yes.
We attempted to protest early in the year, but we had a technical difficulty and did not submit our protest in time. At the time that we were about to submit our initial protest, the applicant actually told us that they would agree to our settlement agreement. Once we missed the deadline with ABCA, they suddenly were uninterested in doing so. So, you know, we know that they think this is reasonable, or they thought this was reasonable. And it's the same language that we use with all of our other nightclubs. So my district has about 60 ABCA licensees, including I think 6 or 7 nightclubs. It's one of the highest density in the city, around 18th and Connecticut. None of the other businesses have this issue.
Right.
We just have one really bad actor. Yeah.
Is I'm looking at the picture of the rooftop right now.
Yep.
Do you want them to enclose that or turn down the music, or what's the?
A combination of things. It is an enclosed rooftop in that it's got a retractable roof, but the roof and sides are all glass and there's no soundproofing whatsoever. It's very thin glass. There have been other nightclubs in this exact same space that agreed to these same terms that we are requesting, and were not an issue for the neighbors. So we are simply asking that they agree to the same terms that other nightclubs in this exact same space have followed. So we're not seeking to close them. We're not seeking to have them to be, you know, not have any amplified sounds. We are seeking that they play by the same rules that everyone else in the neighborhood has always played by, including this same exact space.
Exactly.
Is it a rooftop lounge, or are they trying to get people to dance up there?
It's a nightclub.
It's a nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're blasting music till 4 a.m. I
It's
got
a no-go.
constituents whose homes are shaking. And an issue we've run into, I heard a little bit about this from you all earlier too, is that ABCA will not enforce any noise restrictions there because it is in a mixed use zone. And the Department of Buildings will not send anyone out at nighttime because they say that they don't have any staff at night. So we are all aware that they're violating noise, or we all believe they're violating the noise laws, but no one is willing to enforce it right now. So we're seeking a settlement to
Got it.
hold them accountable.
I think I would totally support.
Yeah, I would too, but I have one question. Has there been a legitimate decibel reading made?
Yes, I don't recall what it is, but I have seen a decibel reading where ABCA at one point did go into a constituent's home and said the decibel is above the limit, and then I guess later determined actually we can't enforce this. But I do believe I have a decibel reading from a constituent at one point.
I would be, if people are complaining about it, businesses have to be accountable to their neighbors.
It's by far the biggest complaint I've received.
Yes, exactly. So I would be in favor of supporting 2B's protest.
And I would second that.
When Alex brought this to me, I thought this was so important.
Yes.
For precedents, setting precedents and improving precedents and reinforcing precedents for our own commission about rooftop spaces, noise like that. Also, the whole concept that there's an office to residential conversion in process, literally feet away, even though those are not stakeholding residents yet. If we can solve this before people start moving in, all the better.
I agree. So we have a motion on the floor, seconded by Commissioner Swart. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. Should we send that directly over to ABCA Legal?
If you could actually definitely send me a copy and let's discuss.
Okay.
This is a process that is not typical.
No, it's
and we
not
have-
typical.
I've heard, so I've spoken with OANC. OANC has said that APCA has like rejected this type of letter before, but OANC has a like legal memo saying how to submit this. So I think it's going to go into our protest filings in advance of
The
the hearing
supporting
before.
documents.
Yeah, so definitely send me a copy, and if before you send it to APCA Legal, if you can let me know, and I can work with you on logistics on that.
Excellent. Okay.
But you're on a deadline of, you said February 4th or?
So our hearing is on February 4th. All of our documents need to be submitted a week in advance, which I think is the 28th.
Yeah, the 28th, yes.
Yeah, so still a little ways away. And if you could designate a representative in the matter, that would be fantastic.
Yes.
I'm willing to be that, since it's across the street from my SMD.
Yes, I'd like to move that we appoint Nancy Groth, a commissioner of 2C04. No, three,
Two.
sorry, two, 2C02, whatever number. I shouldn't have said it. Commissioner Groth as the appointed representative.
I'm fine with that too. I was just wondering, Commissioner Groth, if you have had any firsthand knowledge in terms of hearing this noise yourself, or one of your residents across the street, or one of your businesses across the street?
No, it's in the Wild West of my SMD. I've heard that whole area referred to, unfortunately, as the herpes triangle, because there are so many nightclubs.
For Club Central, but yes.
There we go, Club Central. That's way nicer. But the first shooting in my term as commissioner was literally across the street at the Talkin' Tacos late at night, Friday night, all the things early on a Saturday morning.
Well, I'll second Commissioner Groth.
Second,
Being our
Commissioner Groth
POC.
is by Commissioner Swart, seconds the motion to appoint Commissioner Groth. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. Nancy, I'm going to say you voted in favor of that.
Should I abstain, or I don't know?
No.
All right. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Look forward to any opportunities we have to collaborate. Across our
Absolutely.
borders.
Yes, and I'd be anxious to hear how this works. And I do want to talk with you about your regular commitment to do settlement agreements with groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prior to an issue. That'd be great. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for hanging in there with us.
Yeah.
Next on our agenda is DDOT, public transportation and public space. This is DDOT NOI 25283 MSED, 14th Street and K, regarding lane reconfigurations at 14th and K. Is anybody from DDOT on with us? Yes.
This is Kelly's here.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Are you presenting on this?
Yes. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Please, I would love for you to.
Thanks. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm showing this NOI that I shared with ANC earlier last month. So I'm going to go over the details because a lot of information, so it'll be easier to just explain through talking. So basically we are changing the lane configuration at 14th and K, which is a large intersection. As you know, there are service lane to the right for the right turn. It's kind of confusing, especially, if you're a visitor to DC, they don't really know what lanes to take. So we want to clarify the intersection by adding those lane markings and signs. So let's go to the image. So this is 14th Street and K Street here. So southbound 14th Street, currently there is no lane markings except for the left lane. So we are proposing to add left turn only lane. So currently those 3 lanes, 1, 2, 3, those are all either for through. So there are a lot of some violation from the second lane trying to make right turns. So we want to make it clear. So those 2 lanes are for the through lane, 1 for left, 1 for right. That's our proposal. And on here, K Street to the eastbound, you see the one. Also, there's like no markings at all right now. So not a lot, some cars are making right turn from this middle 2 lanes. I mean, because they don't really know that the service lane is here. So we want to make sure that those 2 lanes in the middle is for the through lane only. I think left turn is I think it's restricted or something. So I'll double check. So we want to make sure. And then we are adding the right turn. We missed the image here, but we are going to add the right turn only markings on the service lane. So if you're on the service lane, you have to make right turn because this lane does not. Thank you for nodding, Commissioner. And yes, so
this is a scary damn intersection.
Yeah, so this is really.
Yeah.
So this is proactive, measure. So we are not, before having any crazy accident, we want to take this, proactive actions to prevent any accidents. So we hope that you support these changes. And yeah, we're ready to implement as soon as this NOI is closed. Any questions?
I have a question about the southbound on 14th.
Yes.
Turning right.
Mm-hmm.
People turn both into the service lane and into the main lane. And as a pedestrian, it's really hard to guess where they're going to go when that light turns green. So that part of the crosswalk to get to the median strip through the service lane, if that makes any sense. I don't know if there's any way to set those differently or to provide any kind of indicator, or that's a scary part of the whole equation also.
Yeah, I mean, always right turn is pretty tricky, but I believe this intersection has a right turn on, the no turn on red. I can double check. If that's the case, there shouldn't be, any, less issue. I think Azad is actually here. Azad, do you have any information to add, especially making right turn on the southbound 14th? Either they have to take the service lane or those middle 2 lanes.
Hi everyone, and good evening. This is Azadeh from DDOT. Yes, Kelly, I just checked the design plan. It's no turn on red at all corners. As you said, and you mentioned, yes, it's gonna be less confusion while making the right turn here, but we can double check. You made a great point, Commissioner. We can check on that to see if we can, make it less confusing, if the right turn should be to the service lane or it can be as well to the main road.
It would be better to force them into the service lane and then they can merge into the main K Street at some other point, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
But sometimes that isn't possible if there's, delivery trucks and all sorts of things. That's why it's a service lane.
Right, correct. Yeah, you made a great point. Sure, we will look into that.
If you're on the sidewalk at 14th and K at that corner, you have no way of knowing whether you're playing chicken with that car turning right or not.
Right. Probably we can make it more, we can clarify it further with having like some extension markings just to guide the right turn traffic to a service lane.
Yeah, that would be great. Even pavement markings that point you into the service lane. That would be, again, if you're from out of town or a tourist or whatever.
Correct.
To put them where it would be safer for everybody. The eastbound thing, yes. Oh my goodness, thank you. To force the people in that service lane to turn right, because there's no way to merge into the 2 lanes as you cross the middle of 14th Street, and it's just that's also really scary. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, we collected data, the crash data, and we noticed one or 2 crashes because of the dual right turn. But we also wanted to be proactive too, and that's why we are making this change.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I saw every one of those infractions that Kelly spoke of happen over the last week.
Oh, wow.
turning from different lanes, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? But thank you for that. I'd like to move that we send a letter of support with this.
Awesome.
this-
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Groff. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. We'll get that letter off. And are you talking about the next one too, Kelly?
Which one?
D.NOI 311 TPA, rush hour restriction removal. for
No,
eateries.
unfortunately, that's not
That's not
our
your
division.
your
Yes.
area. Got
Sorry
it.
about that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate
you.
you being here.
Thanks.
The document for the other one in the 1700 block of I Street, after 10 tries, I gave up on downloading it through Octo.
I think I have it.
You think you have it? Ooh, good. Yeah, because I forwarded you all the email.
Yeah.
It's huge and unwieldy. Basically, the point is that there's a couple of streeteries there, and it's the parking restrictions on the parking spaces leading up to those streeteries, which are currently confusing because there's a rush hour restriction that you can't park there, but you should be able to park there. I think in DDOT's opinion was I think the gist of it.
Okay,
I'm
I
in favor.
have this up. So give me 1 second here. Okay. This is from the 24th. And this is the removal of rush hour parking. We would be impacted by the last two here.
Yes.
I believe the 900 block of 13th Street. And
I confess I paid no attention to that one, but I think that's yours.
Yes, and the 1700 block of I Street, which
Yes.
is yours.
Yes, it's in front of Loeb's Deli, and there's a sort of an English basement underground
Right.
establishment. I don't remember the name of that.
Here's 13th Street. So they're removing the parking lanes on these locations. The restricted parking so they can put streeteries in.
Yes, that's at Immigrant Food at Planet Word. That's the one in your district.
Yes, and then the 17th Street is, this is multiple ones. That are
Yeah,
going
this is confusing. I talked to Andrew Huff at Golden Triangle, and we talked it through, and it made a lot more sense when Andrew explained what
Yes.
he was
they're just
looking at.
And I think that if businesses can have streeteries and this can generate additional revenues for them, it's a good idea to move forward with this. Does someone want to put a motion forward?
Michael, are you okay with the one by the Immigrant Food at Planet Word?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we send a letter of support for this NOI-311-TPA.
I will second that. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. We will get that off. And finally, we have a letter of support for Golden Triangle Bed Parklet at 1700 block of I Street.
Yes, this is exactly right next to the streetery.
Right next to the streetery.
So those of you who may not have been in the Golden Triangle bid, they have done a lot of these, pioneering these parklets. A parklet is a lot like a streetery. It's a raised platform that raises to the height of the curb so that it's flush with the sidewalk level. That is an activation of what would otherwise be the parking or curb lane. There's usually seating, they're painted nicely, there's a theme. It's a nice place to sit while you're trying to get your bearings in the neighborhood, or they're usually in kind of high traffic areas. This one is right across 17th Street from the metro entrance. And the city is now trying in the same vein of recovering parking from what used to be streeteries. They're now wanting to charge, I don't know what Golden Triangle has been paying before, but under the new regime, they'd be paying $35,000 a year, plus maintaining the parklet that they provided as a public community benefit. Apparently the dollar value of those parking spaces is something like $33,000 or $35,000 a year. So I offered to write a letter of support that there should be some negotiation room within that amount of money, and that we affirm the value of these parklets. There's a bunch of places throughout my SMD that are really heavily hardscape built with few green spaces or places to just park your stroller and give the kid a snack, or as a tourist family, just get your bearings for a minute.
What is this? You know if this is on the north or the south side?
It's on the south side of I Street.
South side of I Street. And is it just beside an eatery?
It's beside a streetery, and it's closer to the corner with 17th Street. You can see the metro entrance from it.
Which metro is it, Nancy?
I think it's one of the entrances of McPherson Square, not the main one over on, I don't know, it might be a Farragut, I'm not sure.
And what are we asking in this?
We're just affirming the value of parklets, that we think it's a good use of public space, and encouraging the city to come to a compromise that's not $33,000 a year. Prioritizing pedestrians over cars.
Nancy, how far away? I'm trying to get my bearings. How far?
It's not far from the White House and from Lafayette Park. So the foot traffic in that neighborhood tends to be people who are staying in the expensive hotels right in that area.
I would feel comfortable saying that we value this parklet and support the parklet. I don't know how we can
opine about revenue.
Yeah, I don't know how we can justify a reduced revenue.
Well, they've foregone the revenue because it was an activation of space during the pandemic.
Oh, okay. And now they're asking for the revenue?
Yes, they want their revenue back.
Oh. Okay, well, since this parklet is already in place,
if you'd like to suggest changes to the draft of my letter, I'm sure we can go back and forth and get something.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to pull your letter up.
Picture of this parklet. I was just there at this location. I don't recall seeing a parklet.
It's a smaller one. It's a couple of small cafe tables that have like 2 or 3 chairs each. My visual memory says it was all painted in like yellows and oranges. It's a cheerful space.
Okay. I like your letter that you did, and your letter makes more sense to me
than I just did.
We're not just suggesting, I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn that off. We're not just suggesting that we're suggesting why it's important for community members to have this. It's been here. The street is already restricted for this area. It's a community benefit, unlike they don't generate revenue for this.
Exactly. This DDOT wants to charge for it as if it were a revenue producing streetery, which it's not.
Got it.
It's a money investment of the Golden Triangle.
Yes. I move
Plus,
that we send a
wherever
letter of,
possible, we should uphold the work of the bids, but
yeah, I move that we send a letter of support for this 17th Street parklet, utilizing the letter that Nancy has provided, and appoint Nancy as the representative to represent the matter.
Sure.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor? So 4 of 4 commissioners voting in favor of that. Terrific. Our next meeting, and there's no other items of business, I don't believe. Our next meeting is February 10th, 2026, 6 p.m. in this room. And it will be a hybrid meeting, both in person and virtual. I'd like to thank everyone for coming this evening, and thank you, commissioners, for being here. And is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? The motion has been made by Commissioner Groth and seconded by Commissioner Lee. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. We don't need to vote for an adjournment. Thank you all.
Michael?
Yes.
Could you send me a list of which letters, et cetera, you're doing and which I can do for you?
I will be more than happy to.
Pile it on. I just need to learn all the different, I have a lot of templates and I can make more.
Awesome.
Let me help you.
I will let you help me. Thank you, Nancy.
And you're done at 8:46.
8:46. Now we have to clean up. Bye.